Welcome to the Harshie podcast. This is actually our third podcast with myself, January Harshie.
And Brandon Harshie.
So Brandon informed me that last week I was not lively enough.
No.
This has been the ongoing joke this week, is that I'm not being lively enough. Of course, I feel like I have good reasons for not being lively last week, but I think I figured out what the problem was. Do you want me to tell you?
Sure, yeah.
I think it was because of the bra.
The bra.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that the bra was just totally messing up my groove. So today I'm podcasting without fear. Team no bra.
Sweet. I like no bras. It's easier access.
Oh, gosh. Yes, it is. So for all of you listening, I think I'm going to be more lively today. And
Good.
that's why.
Because you had kind of a weak intro last week.
Oh, thank you.
And by weak, I mean lame.
Oh, there you go with your words again. You are not good at words. You're great with written words, but spoken words, I don't know about that.
I'm not too bad at stuff or something.
What are some things we wanted to mention before we get into our topic for today?
Well, I want to mention, similar to last week, how we are just blown away by the reaction of the podcast. We have had so many downloads, and it's been amazing. I expected it to be a good podcast and that people would want to listen to it, because January goes around the country inspiring people and saying all the right things that people need to hear in this day and age. But the success of the podcast has been just fantastic, and I'm excited about it. Very, very excited about it, and very grateful, and have a lot of gratitude for everyone who listens to it and downloads it. And if this is your first time listening to it, make sure you go to any one of our links on harshie.blog. If you look at the sidebar, you'll see a link to iTunes, to Google Play, to Stitcher. So if you have an iPhone or Android, either one, you can subscribe to it. That way we can pop onto your phone every Friday.
Yeah, it's been really neat. I've had a lot of, the feedback, like you said, has been awesome. I think my favorite has been when people have snapped me while listening to us, which is kind of weird to be hearing my voice in the background and the snaps, but it's really cool. It's neat to see. And something else that's been fun is people have commented or messaged me saying that they put it on, in a car ride or somewhere with their husbands and their moms around. And our moms, a generation before us, they didn't have this kind of support and solidarity. So it's been really, really neat to start seeing and hearing and getting feedback of how far it's reaching. So I hope that continues as we move forward. Something else that we wanted to mention was the merchandise. Do you remember, was it in podcast 1, we talked about how we failed miserably.
Yeah. We actually, I put up a post on harshie.blog about the reasons why we failed so miserably. So if you want to check it out, you can go there. But yeah, it was a pretty miserable failure.
It was so bad. Well, we're really happy to say that this time it is not miserable and it is not a failure. So while I was out of town last weekend in Columbus, Brandon and Miss New York fulfilled all of your orders and got them out this week. So everything's getting out not only on time, but early. And it's been very organized and a positive experience. And so I suggested to Brandon that we celebrate with free shipping for the weekend.
And I agreed. I think it's a good idea. So yeah, anywhere in the world, if you want to order
we're going to do it outside the U.S. too.
Yeah, let's do it
Why
outside
not?
the U.S. So if you're in Australia or the U.K.,
we
Canada,
had orders from all over the place.
Yeah, we've had some from China, from Israel.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, so we will have it set to free shipping today through Monday. So you just go to harshie.blog/store, or you can go straight to selflovegeneration.com and place an order for a lanyard or a shirt or both, and it will be free shipping. So hopefully that will help out a little bit for those of us that are on budgets but want rad shirts.
Definitely. And if you order it this weekend, we'll have it out by Wednesday of next week at the latest. So
promises.
Well, we got a good system up now.
Yeah, we do.
it was pretty inefficient and slow and tedious and
It's
horrible.
so much easier talking about it when you're past it, but yeah, in the moment it wasn't the best. So
Well, we've upgraded our technology too, so it's
yeah, we
a
have.
little bit more
Yeah,
streamlined.
he's kind of in love with the label printer thing.
Yeah.
It prints the shipping labels right on a sticker. So it makes things much, much
And
better.
very fast, yeah. That surprisingly was like the worst part of it was printing up the labels.
Isn't that funny?
It was
Of all the things. So, well, we went back and forth on what we wanted to talk about today for this episode. There's a lot of things on my mind. And if you follow me on social media, on my personal accounts, you'll know some of that. I think what it all comes down to for today's episode is expectations. I want to talk about the expectations that we put on ourselves, that we feel put on us by family, friends, society, media. There's a lot there. I'm sure we probably could fill quite a few podcasts for every single subcategory of that I just mentioned. But for today, I want to talk about expectations and mostly probably parenting and just where that begins and the effects of that. So when we have babies or we are born, from the moment we're born, there's expectations there. And I'm not talking about the basic needs. Obviously, there's an expectation that you'll feed the baby, love it, clothe it, that kind of thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the expectations and the misconceptions and the misinformation out there on how we should do things. Many of us either were parented this way or are expected to parent in that mindset and that generation of don't pick up the baby, you'll spoil them. And the other day in the Take Back Postpartum group on Facebook, somebody did a post stating that they were reading through their pediatrician's packet information. And sure enough, they had outdated information about, by the time your baby's 9 months old, you should only be picking them up and consoling them for 2 to 3 minutes at a time. I couldn't even get through it without.
So ridiculous.
So, and a lot of comments that followed said that their pediatricians had that outdated information as well. And it opened up a whole conversation for Brandon and I, which actually we've had this conversation quite often. So, for example, Brandon, we talk about attachment and the lack thereof. I think when Brandon was a baby, it was the typical, he wasn't breastfed and...
Well, for 2 weeks I was.
and, put in a crib and expected to self-soothe and sleep on his own. And that continued, though, like throughout his relationship with his mother. And, we've talked about the difference, that would have been for you growing up if you'd had a little bit more attachment happening with your relationship with your parents, especially your mother. Our mothers are very important. And then we compare it to how we have raised the bull because you guys are a lot alike at that age, and how we're really happy that he's had more attachment in his life. So there's these expectations placed on us from the beginning, either as a baby ourselves or as a parent of infants. And, you can't hold them too long, you'll spoil them. And are they sleeping through the night? And I talk about this when I speak and also on social media, the conversation we're having with new parents. It's, you meet somebody at usually the mom's at Target, getting away from her toddler and her partner or husband, and has the baby in a sling or asleep in the cart, in their car seat because she doesn't want them to wake up, and hopefully has a coffee or a tea from Starbucks and is browsing the dollar spot. And somebody comes up and asks how old your baby is, and you tell them. And then the next question is usually, how much does the baby weigh? Because we're obsessed with weight from birth. And by this point, it's coming. And they ask, so is your baby sleeping through the night? And that's such a detrimental question. It's bullshit. It's completely detrimental. It can throw a brand new mom who's just trying to get through the day and get through the evenings completely off kilter. And here she is trying to have a peaceful moment away from the survival mode of new parenthood, and now completely questioning herself because, her baby most likely is not sleeping through the night, because most babies do not sleep through the night. And this all stems from expectations. And this is the conversation we're having over and over again, generation by generation. And instead of asking that new parent, how are you doing? How is postpartum going? Which are questions of support. It's, is your baby sleeping tonight, and do you have a good baby?
That's the one I was going to just bring up. Do you have a good baby?
What is that?
What the hell is a good baby? A baby that doesn't ever cry, that does everything perfectly, that you don't have to parent or do anything.
I don't know.
That's
really weird. It's a really weird question.
It's ridiculous.
My answer to that is, well, no. You see, there was this really hot demon god, and one thing led to another. So this baby's half evil. Couldn't help myself. Please don't tell my husband. So these questions are just, again, it's placing this expectation on new parents that your baby be good, whatever that means, and that your baby's sleeping through the night, that they're not needy, that they don't need you, and that is ridiculous. Of course they need you. They're babies. They literally just, came out of your body one way or the other. So I think that this expectation for babies, infants, older babies, and even young toddlers to be sleeping through the night is absolutely and fundamentally ridiculous, and it's unreasonable. So we have a family member, I will say, and that within the first hour falling asleep, wakes up at least 3 times to go pee, wakes up through the night, many nights, needing to use the bathroom or having a bad dream, or just is restless and just cannot sleep and has things on their mind. And sometimes they fall back to sleep easily. Sometimes they need me to help them fall back asleep. And sometimes they just have to get up and, do some things until they get tired enough. And this person is Brandon.
That is true. I didn't know if you were going to spill the beans or not.
Yeah, and he's 38, you guys. He's 38. My point is most adults don't even sleep through the night. And if I woke up in the middle of the night not feeling well or sick, which has happened a lot with my gallbladder, or, having a bad dream, I wouldn't want to go to somebody that I trust and I love and them tell me, oh, well, get over it, just go back to bed, and not validate that. So these expectations that we have on young babies, it's not only hard on them. That's not even what I'm trying to get at, to be honest. It's hard on us, the adults, as parents, because we have our instincts. We have our instincts that tell us how we should parent or what we need. And then there's the expectations on the other side of telling us how we should do things, even if they're not what feels right or what's best for ourselves. And in this sleep-deprived, uncertain, time and season in your life, it's really hard to shut out those expectations and those other voices and things that are being put on us and just listen to our instincts. And so that's why I'm talking about this today. I know so many of you listening to this are like, oh my gosh, yes, because we've all been through it. If you're a parent, you have been through what I'm talking about. And so I want you to be able to start recognizing the difference between, hey, this is what I feel is right for me or for my relationship with my partner or my child, or this is an expectation that somewhere along the line I picked up and I thought I needed to do it this way, or somebody's telling me I need to, but it doesn't feel right. What do you think about all that, babe? Because I'm going to keep going.
No, I totally agree. It's interesting because with our kids, with our first one, our oldest one, who I now call teenager. Her name is Teenager Harshie. And so when Teenager was a baby, I was adamant about her sleeping in her crib. Mm-hmm. And I was really agitated and pissed off when she'd wake up at 4 or 4:30 in the morning, and I had to get up with her, and it would just seem so unreasonable, and there were expectations and that you hear about just through society, like the baby should sleep in the crib, the baby should sleep through the night, this, that, and the other, and these things would happen. I was so frustrated. I remember being so frustrated as a first-time parent, thinking man, like, this is ridiculous. This baby is not cooperating. She should sleep in the crib. I know she's waking up so early. And by the time we got to our third child, I'm skipping over number 2 because as a baby, he was just, he was not the most easy baby. So we had to try all sorts of crazy things to get him to sleep. We had to put him in those little vibrator chairs in the bathroom with the bathtub running.
Yeah,
so
he had colic.
He would fall asleep. Mm-hmm. But by the time we got to baby number 3, Miss New York, once she got past, what was it, about 9-10 months or so?
It was around 10 or 11 months because I was pregnant and she wanted to nurse through the night.
Oh, that's right.
And so I had to remove myself from the room because I could not handle nursing her through the night while being pregnant. Like, ugh, no.
Yeah, you were having a hard time. So I started co-sleeping with her and continued to co-sleep with her until she was 4.
Yeah.
And then when the next baby was born and got to that same point, I would co-sleep with her as well, and I would actually lay in the bed together with number 3 and 4, who ironically are best friends right now, and they share a room. But I would lay both of them down, and then the same thing with the bull, when he got to be of age, and also with Beard Baby now, although now we're starting to trade off, but. It was actually I figured out one time it was about 4 years where we did not sleep in the same bed.
Really?
Yeah, it was about 4 years.
And that just goes to show that you don't need to sleep in the same bed to have a great sex life.
Exactly. It's not like I was in the doghouse or anything. I fell asleep with the kids and I just stayed asleep and everyone slept well that way. I remember actually in chiropractic school, our oldest 3 shared a room because we had a 2-bedroom apartment. And January was pregnant with number 4. And so those older 3 shared a room. I would put number 3 to sleep, and then we had an air mattress. And I slept on the air mattress on the floor just about every night while they slept in their beds. And that's just how it was for a period of time there in chiropractic school towards the end. Probably about 6 to 8 months we did that.
We've done all sorts of things.
Yeah. We
just how everyone sleeps is what we do, because sleep is important.
Absolutely,
it matters. It's incredibly important, and so if we figured out a way for everyone to get better sleep, maybe not perfect sleep, but better sleep, that's how we did it. I didn't care how it looked. I didn't care if it wasn't what society says is normal. If somebody's sleeping on the couch and 2 kids sleeping together in one bed and one of us sleeping with one kid or the other, if everybody slept better, that's what we did. And if it didn't work anymore, we changed it up so everybody could sleep better again. It's it's a lot. It's frustrating at times going through having to figure it out. But if you find a certain rhythm or if all of a sudden the puzzle pieces come together and everyone's sleeping better, do that.
Yeah,
no matter
exactly.
What your mother-in-law says.
You have to adapt, and when kids are little, they're changing at such a rapid rate. Every couple months, you have to change something new and change it completely, and it's wild when you have as many kids as we do. It's constant change.
It's why parents are such incredible problem solvers, because you don't have a choice but to figure that out.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
The thing too about expectations is, and this applies not just for, well, I want to say a few things. First of all, as far as babies and sleep goes, sometimes letting go of the expectation that baby needs to be sleeping through the night is all the relief you need. Just letting it go. And there were some times with certain kiddos going through a phase like teething or sometimes I just didn't know what was going on. They just needed me at some point. That was when I get really, really frustrated, it's because I was having these expectations and there was no way for that baby to meet my expectations because they didn't know what it was. they were just saying they needed me. And so that's when I'm like, you know what? I need a snack and Netflix at 4 a.m. That's fine. No one will interrupt me. The baby just wants to be held. I'll watch my show. We'll go back to sleep and sleep in the morning. And same thing kind of goes for toddlers and up, right? Like there's so many times where I'll be getting really frustrated with my kids that I realize it's because I'm forcing things. I'm trying to force a certain routine or certain behavior. And it just becomes forceful. And with that comes the frustration. And then you're always snapping. And then there's this kind of bad cycle you can get into. And you're like, what is wrong? Like, why is this not working? And sometimes, I mean, obviously there's situations where there's other things at play. But sometimes if you just let go of that expectation and you stop forcing things and you step back and you slow down and we let go, we can see things from a different perspective. And we may get a little bit of clarity. There's times where I've decided that day I'm just going to say yes more. And it's amazing how things just flow better. So just changing those expectations and letting go a little bit and taking a deep breath, putting a pause on whatever it is you're trying to force can let go of a lot of frustration. I think that's helped me get through many frustrating moments in parenthood.
Yeah. And like I said before, with my mindset with our first baby, when I look back to having one child, I look at it as being so hard and frustrating, and it was because of that very fact. I had all these expectations on how it should go, and when it wasn't going that way, it's like, what the hell? Why isn't this baby doing exactly what she should be doing? This is terrible. This is awful. I can't believe how hard it is. And then by the time we got to our third one and fourth one and so on and so forth, it hasn't been nearly as hard, just because
your expectations have changed.
Right, the expectations have changed. Babies are not going to sleep through the night. Their stomachs are super tiny, so they can only eat a little bit at a time. And so when they're first born, they're nursing all the time.
You know what is really ironic about you saying that is we've had 1 out of 6 baby start sleeping at least 6 to 8 hours through the night pretty early on, and it was the bull of all the kids.
Yeah.
Of course, that was a really hard postpartum, so I think it was meant to be.
He slept a lot.
Well, that's when I introduced a pacifier and swaddling. I don't know why the hell we didn't do that with the first 4. I really don't.
No kidding.
But swaddling and pacifiers do help. So,
Yeah.
If only we could go back, right?
Yeah, he has been a good sleeper, although he wakes up too early and is always watching shows right now.
I know.
Nuts.
The thing about listening to how our children feel and attending to their needs, and listening to how we feel and attending to our needs, it's going to be better for everyone's mental health, emotional and mental health, our children, us, and it's really, really important, not just for the day-to-day now, but also for the generation we're raising, for the next generation, and how they interact with themselves and each other, the expectations. Oh my gosh, I'm just thinking of a million different things we could talk about when it comes to expectations.
Yeah, well, you just mentioned about the expectations we have for ourselves, and man, oh man, for me, I have always had these sky high expectations for myself, and that's been one of the struggles I've always had, is that I hold myself to this standard that is almost 99% of the time impossible to reach, and I've had to learn how to be easier on myself, basically,
right.
and not.
You're probably one of the worst with this.
Oh yeah, there's no one that can beat me up any harder than I beat myself up, or have beat myself up. It's gotten a little better recently because I've been working on that and talking myself down off the ledge when I'm thinking what a failure I am at this or that or whatever it is that I'm thinking about. But a lot of times those kind of things can start when we're young. You hear sometimes from your parents, be good, be nice, do this, do that, and it's like we're told to do all these things, and yeah, we're kids and we have to listen to our parents and all that, but it continues on when you're a teenager. Do your homework, make sure you're home by this time, and then by the time you get
Make sure you get all straight A's, or you're not going to be worthy enough.
Yeah.
Worthy enough for what?
Yeah, and so by the time you get to an age when you go to college or get a job or whatever, your career, you have all these expectations that are in your mind and your subconscious that not only your parents have put on you, but also that you hear from society around you. And we're all different, and we all have different talents and beliefs, and there's not a one-size-fits-all mentality that's going to work for everyone. I was a very rebellious kid and very rebellious teenager, so whenever I'd hear, be good, be nice, my first instinct was like, no. All right, I'm going to be a punk and I'm going to be rude. I'm going to do what I want.
That's super encouraging, babe.
Yeah, it's very encouraging. I don't encourage other people to do that, or kids, if there are any kids listening to this, but maybe not.
Yeah, I have an issue with expectations and other people putting them on me. Like I say, nobody puts January in a box. For all you Dirty Dancing fans. But it's true. Don't put your expectations on me. A few other things, like I said, there's so many ways and situations in your life that this can apply to. But how about the expectation to be available 24/7 because of social media? We
like when someone emails you over and over again 3 times, like a 12-hour span, and like, why would you answer my email?
Oh no, my favorite is
because I was sleeping.
Yeah, right. So we don't have to be available 24/7, and it's not healthy for that either. I know my favorite though is when somebody emails over and over again in the course of a day, and I haven't even seen this email, of course, because I don't check emails every day anymore. And then they're like, well, do you have a phone number? I'll just call you. And it's like, girl, if you think I'm going to give you my phone number.
Or the other way around. Can someone call me? I have questions.
No. I really have or take the time to call like people I like. Oh my goodness. You brought up a good point too. How about that? Just the expectation that you have to go to college to be successful. I grew up with that, the expectation to go to college, and I did. But there's expectations put on us through our whole lives, and it's our job to step back and get in tune with how we really feel, and what our instincts are telling us, and what feels authentic living to
absolutely.
us. When we started having kids, but I'm going to talk about my family here for a minute. But when I started having kids, my family, it's a very matriarchal type of family setup, and expectations is like a forte in my family. And so first of all, the expectation was for me to graduate college and to get a PhD before I had children and got married. And then the expectation was that I would only have 2 children, a girl and a boy, of course, because we can control that. And then there was the expectation that I would work and, from the beginning and not stay home with my children. And the expectation that I would raise my children a certain way, very mainstream way. Well, like I said earlier, that doesn't bode well for me. Or for the people that put their expectations on me.
You didn't like that box?
No. No. And so I basically have done everything opposite of probably what was expected of me. And you guys, when you're the person in your family who's doing things different or criticized for your doing, the way that you do things or how your family is, it's hard, obviously, like that's stating the obvious, and it's hurtful, but it's important, especially if you're in a situation where you need to change generational cycles or, harmful type of just parenting or living or whatever. So for years, I love my grandmother. I love her. Like we're very, very close. We have been since I was born. But for years, her and I butted heads on a lot of things when it came to me having children and how I parented them. And we went around the block a few times. And
a few.
A few. And they questioned everything as far as how many children I was having and how I was raising them and what I was doing. And, you know, our oldest is almost 14, okay? And just in the last year, my grandmother has said to me, you know, January, you obviously know what you're doing. Your kids are kind and so intelligent and well-spoken and healthy. And I really think that you and Brandon are the best parents I've ever known. Ooh, yeah. Like,
I agree.
Can I please get that in writing and recorded and notarized? Because it only took 14 years, well, 13, to hear that. And so sometimes, you know, you're butting heads with people that love you and that you love, but you're doing what you feel is right. And it takes time. It takes time for, you know, those around you that are putting expectations on you to see why you're doing things the way you're doing them, and that it is what's best for you and for your children and for your family. So if you're in that situation, don't lose hope and don't give up and keep listening to your instincts. And I support you.
Yeah, and like you said, listen to your instincts, which was one of the topics of last week's podcast. Instincts are incredibly important, and especially as a parent, your job is to keep this child safe and sheltered and
no big deal.
Right, and raise them in the best way you know how, according to your beliefs. And it is not easy, and I don't know if there's any day and age when it's been easy to raise a child. I only know this day and age, and I can say for both of us, it's definitely not easy.
No.
You know, with the prevalence of the internet and social media and all this crazy stuff in this world that we have surrounding us, it can be a challenge. We actually, I think, do a fairly good job of keeping our kids sheltered from a lot of that craziness. You know, our kids are not on social media yet, and I think didn't the oldest one time express something about
she
Facebook?
Just asked me, she said, when are you gonna let us get on Facebook? And I told her, when I can't control you getting on Facebook anymore.
Yeah, when you're
so
18.
when you move the hell out of my house. And then she came to the conclusion that she didn't want to be on Facebook anyways because she thinks people are assholes.
Yeah, and on Facebook they tend to be, like I said
Can't
before.
really blame her.
I got off Facebook, and man, it was like the greatest thing I could have done. I love Instagram personally. Instagram was a lot of fun. I like posting silly memes and videos.
People want to know where you find all your workout videos. Are you gonna keep that a secret?
I go hunting for them. I
The
find
one
them
you
in
posted the
secret
other day
places.
is my absolute favorite.
Jazzercise.
She was so excited about.
Boom chicka, boom chicka.
She was so excited. She's like, go find some men and or girls. That's okay too.
This is from back in the 80s too. So
I know. She was
a very progressive lady.
She was ahead of her time. It was pretty awesome.
Or what about the one lady, the video where she's like doing the walk aerobics? She's like,
no,
the cackle.
I'm just going to stop you right there. And we're cutting you off. Turn off the mic.
Let's get to walking.
Stop it. Stop.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. But yeah, you guys, something that we need to remember is that we can reprioritize as often as we need. We can recheck in about the expectations that are there or that we're putting on ourselves. And we don't have to have it all figured out, like in this exact moment. You know, we do have to figure some of it out as we go. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It would be nice if we had everything figured out in that exact moment, or if we had a manual of some sort that told us what to do when and at what age, and that it was a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, but then wouldn't that just be more expectations? So
it would be more expectations. But yeah,
you can keep your manual. I don't want it.
It really is hands-on training for every parent, because every kid is so different, and we all
they
parent,
are. They really are.
Yeah, we all parent differently.
I was just talking about that with a friend this morning.
Yeah.
About how even with our sixth, that her personality is completely different
Oh yeah.
than our other five, and how it's always new and fun. Like I've been obviously pregnant many times, and it never gets old feeling that baby move inside of you and holding a newborn and having a toddler with their own little personality. It's always new. It's always fun. And it's always different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely never.
It's always
gets,
very different.
It never gets old. So, what else did you want to say about expectations?
Well,
I'll share one of my favorite quotes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I always wish that I could read my quotes instead of just posting them on Instagram. I don't know why. It's like I have a Samuel L. Jackson moment. I want to be like him, but I'm not.
Be like him in what way?
Just how well, you know how he reads the Go the F to Sleep book?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I want to be like that. I want that to be my career, where I could just read to people. Anyways, if all your kids do today is stay home, eat cereal, and watch PBS, they are safe, getting tons of fortified vitamins, and learning about the letter Q and the number 7, motherhood, nailing it. But it's so true, right? You know, we have, again, back to the expectations. We have these expectations that everything has to be, well, Pinteresty. That's what I was going to bring up earlier. You were talking about everything, you know, put down the Pinterest app. Stop reading all the articles all the time. It is great that we live in an age where if we need information, we can hop on and get it. But we have to be mindful of not taking it too far. Get the information, process it, and then do what's best for your family. Don't start comparing.
Yeah.
So, you know, we get these expectations. I know I did, where everything had to be like fresh from a farm and organic and BPA free, and everything had to be wood, and everything I did with my children had to be child-led learning. Like everything. We couldn't just be, you know, and that's just over the top. You can't live at that level 24/7. You just can't. And so, you know, if you're like me, sometimes I set these expectations for myself so high that I'm not going to be able to meet them all the time. And then I'm going to feel guilty, and then I'm going to have mom guilt, and then I'm going to feel like a failure. So that's ridiculous. So yeah, if your kids have a home, and that's going to look different for every single one of you. And again, with expectations, you know, we're a family of 8 and we live in an apartment. So if your family, you guys have a home, no matter what that looks like for you, and there's love and there's food, then you're doing amazing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
yeah, your children have more than many other children have just with that alone. So if you guys just sit on the couch all day and hold your baby and feed them, whether it's from a bottle or your breast, and your toddler's running around eating Frosted Flakes and probably don't have pants on, and you probably don't have pants on either. Actually, no one has pants on. It's like teen no pants. But you know what? It's Daniel the damn tiger's fault. Totally his fault. So, you know, and then you all you have on all day is PBS or Daniel the damn tiger. Your kids are learning something, they're fed, and they're loved. Everything on top of that is like just extra goodness on the cake, right? It's like rainbow sprinkles on the already awesome rainbow cake. So you're doing great is my point. Yeah. You're loving your little ones and you're feeding them and they have a home. You're doing great. You're doing awesome. And anything above and beyond that is, that's incredible. Your children are so lucky to have you.
Yeah, that's very well said. I
Thanks.
feel so much better now. I feel like a better parent now that you said that.
Oh my goodness. Are you going to get some Frosted Flakes and
I take off my pants.
Stop it. And just watch.
Make sure I have some underwear on first, though.
Please. And watch some shows. And yeah, you guys can do that tonight when I go hang out with my friends. You guys can watch shows and eat snacks and laugh.
Maybe I'll put everyone to bed early, and Teenager and I will finally watch The Dark Knight.
Oh, that movie gives me the heebie-jeebies.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
Best Joker ever.
You know, speaking of, yes, that is true. I'll give you that. Speaking of that, that's another thing is don't expect your partner or your husband or your wife to parent the same way you do all the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want for important things to be on the same wavelength, right? And you want to, you want to co-parent where you guys have the same, ideals and, thoughts on stuff. But the little things, each of you have to find your own groove with your kids, and that's going to look different to your partner or your spouse. It's not going to always be the same as you. And Brandon brought up that movie, when as the kids were growing up and Brandon would want to watch stuff with them, I would just I'd be like, no.
She 86'd the idea.
My answer is no. But
like, come on, please.
Our girls sing that song all day long. But I realized that, especially when I started going out of town, I'd come home and the kids would be like, yeah, it was so cool while you were gone. Dad, let us watch Iron Man. I'm like, okay. And I'd ask, did you remember to, skip certain parts? And he's like, no, I forgot.
Oh, yeah. It didn't
didn't get to it in time, And,
shucks.
In my 20s, you're such a dork. In my
fiddlesticks.
Stop it. In my 20s, I would have gotten so worked up about it. And I realized that you just have your own way with the kids. And there's certain things you really feel really strongly for and against yourself. And that I needed to back off and let you find your ways to bond with them and to hang out with them and to have a relationship with them. So I changed my expectations on you, with your relationships with our kids.
Yeah, I love watching movies with the kids, and most of the movies I love to watch are of the PG-13 variety. So I've had to wait a little while for them to get a little bit older, but
getting there.
It is a fun thing. Now, I don't go around watching, Deadpool or Game of Thrones with them. Those are,
Oh, such good choices.
A little bit, the great choices for the adult.
I know.
Not so much
I feel
for
like
the
we need to have a podcast.
12 or 13-year-old.
We need to have a podcast just to process Game of Thrones. Like, we need to Harmony Circle that shit.
There are a lot of Game of Thrones podcasts. Did you know that?
There are. There actually already are. So that already
Yeah.
exists. So I guess we'll skip that. But oh my gosh, it's so good. I can't wait.
Yeah, the
Next
other night
episode.
I was watching all sorts of clips with the Night King from Game of Thrones.
So
Love that guy. I
awesome.
can't wait till that guy shows up at the end of the season. It's going to be awesome.
Oh man,
It's going to make Cersei look like a little twerp.
she's crazy.
It's like, yeah, that's all nice and good, you little Lannister girl.
Stop it. We totally got off track.
Sorry.
So yeah,
We love Game of Thrones.
But anyways, so the whole point of all this was just to give a different perspective on expectations. So many comments that I get on my social media or posts in the Birth Out Fear and the Take Back Postpartum Parenting group on Facebook really all stem from expectations being put on ourselves by ourselves or family member, society, or pediatrician. And a lot of the things and the frustration and the losing our shit feelings that we have can be helped with just slowing down, pausing, stop forcing of things, and changing up our expectations. So I hope that helps if some of you are going through some frustrating things right now with that. Do you have anything you want to add, or is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's about forcing things. That's the biggest sign.
You know nothing about that, right?
No, I never force anything. Which of course means I do. But the minute things feel forced is the minute to step back and be like, okay, this is not working. Let's figure out something else. And
then you're like, why didn't we do that before?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're good at that, and I feel like I'm getting a little bit better at that. But for a long time, it's just those expectations. You feel things have to go one way, and you try to make them go that way, and they just blow up in your face. And it's like, why did I even do that? Why didn't I just do what I wanted instead of what I felt was expected? And I think that's the big thing is do what you want, do what you feel is right, not what maybe society or a family member or parent thinks is right. They're not the ones raising your kids. If they want to come over and help raise them, fine.
But even if they
they're
are
not.
helping, they're not the ones living your life, and they're not the ones inside your mind. They're not the ones dealing with what you're dealing with.
True.
So yeah, so you do you, boo. You do you.
Exactly.
What do you think that we should talk about next week on our podcast? I have an idea or two.
I don't know. What are your ideas?
I'm thinking we should talk about our journey in and out of Mormonism.
Ah,
I think that'd be really, yeah. I actually haven't talked about it. I haven't done a post anywhere about it.
No.
I haven't talked about it at all. But you know, having the podcast, I think, is a great platform to talk about that.
Yeah, well, we just
It
kind of
is a
quietly
big part
went
of
our
lives.
way.
I know.
Didn't need to make a big
We were like
to-do list.
ninjas about it.
Yeah,
Like-
and the thing is, too, is we weren't raised in the church.
No.
For people who leave the Mormon church who were raised in it, it's much, much different.
Yeah, very
than-
different experience, and we could talk about that too.
Yeah, I mean, we started out as heathens, so so returning back to heathendom is, hasn't been a huge deal.
Oh gosh, the words you come up with.
Kind of like uniquity,
Hey, that's my word, and that's a great word. Yes.
agreeance.
Do not mess.
Although agreeance is actually a word,
Yes, we
Yeah.
debated this for a long time.
but it's an old word. It's not used anymore.
That's okay. It's still a word, and it just goes to show that I have a lot of class and uniquity in me. I also think we should do a podcast soon about veganism and our family veganism.
Oh,
I get
yeah.
lots of questions about that. The other thing I was going to ask you guys to do is to give us some suggestions for guests that you want on our podcast.
Yeah.
Leave a comment on our social media or, at harshi.blog or, anywhere else. But let us know who you'd like us to have, and we'll ask them, and start getting some guests on here too. I think would be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Mhm.
we have some guests in mind that we're working on that we'll have on soon. But
Yeah, like the whole cast of Game of Thrones. No big deal.
yeah,
right? We
yeah,
can do that.
yeah, we're gonna.
Oh wait, maybe not yet.
Yeah, I think The Rock just texted me back and said he'll be around in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, any guests that you really do want us to have, let us know, and we'll ask them, and we'll see if we can get them on.
Yeah.
And don't forget that we'll have free shipping through Monday for the
Free
next
shipping.
2 days. Don't start that again. Do not. You should see it. He was trying not to laugh. He was really trying not to laugh, but no, he couldn't do it. Do not start repeating my words.
Okay, I won't repeat your words.
Stop it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so there's that. And then, and real quick events. So I did a couple posts recently about my mental health, and I didn't want to get into that too much today, but we will later. And I rescheduled 4 out of my next 5 events. And so if you haven't seen about that, then you can go to bwfconference.com and see the new dates there. Maybe it'll actually open up some of you who wanted to come who couldn't because you couldn't
Right.
come on those dates. So the rest of our events this year, and then now there's a few that are rescheduled for next year. I'm going to take it really slow next year, and we do have some other surprises that I like to mention every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, check those out. So the next time I'll be traveling is the first weekend of September
Right.
to Calgary. We're going to
Calgary,
Canada.
Alberta.
Yeah, are you coming?
I am coming.
Okay,
I'm excited.
that sounds good. I don't think people know that yet, actually.
I grew up watching wrestling all the time,
Oh,
and
gosh.
I know Calgary is being the hometown of Bret the Hitman Hart, so I'm excited. Maybe I'll run into him over there.
No, you won't. You're not gonna.
It's the excellence of execution.
Stop it. Oh my gosh. Something people don't know about us is that we were wrestling fans, and we actually have gone to wrestling events. I got you tickets for one of your
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, we
right?
went to Monday Night Raw a few times, WWF, which is now WWE.
Yeah, I was a
And
huge
then,
fan of China's.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was a
she's-
huge fan of hers.
I was a huge Rock and Stone Cold fan,
Mhm.
and Sting and WCW.
Stone Cold Steve
but-
Austin, yes.
who
And
has
then-
a very successful podcast.
And then I got over it. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be on our podcast soon.
Oh yeah, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, great.
Not really. Not really.
Yeah. So, and then after Calgary, what's after Calgary?
The weekend after that is Atlanta,
Oh yeah, Atlanta, and then I don't know.
and then 2 weeks after that is Nashville.
You guys see why I keep him around? He remembers dates and names and cities and things that I don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
My memory helped me get through chiropractic school.
That's true.
I don't think
Yeah.
I would have made it if I didn't have a photographic memory like that.
Probably not. Well, I changed my expectations on myself and what I'm able to give. And I took a I made a pretty big step on that, on changing up the events, and with no regrets, because
Well, it was kind of a necessity. It
yeah,
really was.
absolutely. And the expectations I was putting on myself and that I was allowing others to put on me wasn't okay. And so I needed to change that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm changing the expectations I have on myself, and I am putting up boundaries for the expectations others can put on me.
Right.
Most people, most of you are okay with me being human. Some people have an expectation for me not to be human. So that's not okay, because I am. I'm very, very human and very imperfect, and I'm just me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I think it's important. I think it's important to speak up for ourselves and to be a voice for ourselves, and to be very clear about boundaries and expectations for ourselves. And again, to listen to our instincts. So I hope that this has helped you guys today, and will give you a little bit more sense of solidarity, that you're not the only one going through. We're in the trenches with you.
Oh, yeah.
We are in the trenches with you. And, you know, our kids, you know, yes, we have 6 kids. Yes, we've done a lot, but we're still in these trenches. And we're figuring it all out day to day, just like you guys are. So
Oh, yeah. I mean, I say to you every day, I'm like, man, I am so tired of this toddler stage.
yeah.
It's,
And I remind you every day that we've made sure that that's the last time.
Yes.
So we're good. Yeah. So now we can have sex without fear.
Yes.
Yes. Which is a really beautiful thing.
It is incredibly beautiful. Amazing. It feels great.
Oh, and on that note, until next time.
Adios.